Good evening, everybody, and welcome to your Wednesday night motorsport for the RSRA Super 2 E-Series and the DSL Welding Services Super 2 E-Series, should I say. Coming to you live from a brand new circuit on the iRacing platform, and one drivers have never been to before, and we haven't been here at all for the RSRA. And we are coming to you live from Hungaroring in Hungary, and what a technical track it is tonight. A little bit similar to Suzuka, very, very hard to make some overtaking maneuvers, but luckily for these drivers, it is only a sprint race tonight, not a super sprint, and they don't have to contend with a reverse grid at the end. 37 laps we have lined up for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to try and get through that before iRacing decides to throw a spanner in the works, as they do to us every single week at the moment. We just can't catch a break from them, where they've got some planned maintenance going on tonight. Matt Davis, JP, joining you in the booth tonight. Unfortunately, Dean Reddit, my co-commentator for Wednesday nights, can't make it tonight due to a couple issues at home. And Dean, if you are watching, mate, I hope the other half does feel better, mate, come next week, and we'll be looking forward to having you back on the track for Tuesday night's racing, and obviously back in the booth on Wednesday nights. JP, though, mate, thank you very much for stepping in. Our director, ladies and gentlemen, joining me tonight in the booth, mate. You've had your work cut out this week, and it looks like you can't catch a break yourself.
Good evening, mate, and good evening, everybody watching us tonight. Yeah, pulling double duties on the commentary front. Although last night you did come in and save my hide, so yeah, not too bad tonight.
Guess you're going to have to repay the favour at some stage, and I guess tonight's the only way to do it. Well, JP, let's get up some track notes for the ladies and gentlemen at home watching all around the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting and RSRA, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. And let's see the itty-bitty grizzlies that's happening tonight, ladies and gentlemen. 4.38 kilometres in length, 37 laps to contend with tonight. A total race distance of 162.1 kilometres. 50k an hour on pit lane. A little bit slower, and quite a long pit lane transit to contend with as well. So that's really going to affect them if they have to make an unscheduled pit stop or even a drive-through penalty. 55.5 litres on board to start the race. 2 pit stops tonight, 3.6 litres of fuel burn a lap, and 2 sets of tyres to go through. 1 to start on and 1 to choose between the 2 pit stops. And I wonder if the trend's going to keep on being set with the second pit stop. We know it's a very, very hard track on tyres around the Hungaroring. So it's going to be interesting to see what the drivers do tonight. 13th of October, 2021 is our race date. A start time of 10:30 in the morning with an air temp of 21 degrees, track temp of 28 degrees, and a northeasterly direct wind speed direction of 19 kilometers an hour. And that's going to be a little bit of a tailwind leading between turns 3 and 4 for these drivers. So watch for, if they can, an overtaking opportunity coming into turn 4. Very, very hard, like I said, though, to make an overtaking opportunity arise around here, and very limited spots to do so. We saw last night Runaway Rayner have an awesome battle there around the outside of turn 14 on Matty Scholes, and then around the outside, if he doesn't mind, of turn 1 as well. And what a move. I think that's going to be the move for the ages to be seen. And if you want, go check out the replay on the RSRA or the Sim Shed broadcasting pages for that one. JP, Barney the flagman's waving his checkered flag, so that only means one thing. Qualifying is done, and the driver's briefing is about to start. Mate, you were able to get out on track and provide us a in-depth view of what it's like to handle one of these buses around here at the moment. So why don't you lead us away with that, mate, and talk us through one.
All right, mate, this track is all about getting that clean exit off that last turn and getting the power down nice and smoothly. A big long straight here, so lots of opportunity to accelerate, making sure to go through the gears nice and clean. Hard braking here, and we start to trail the brake all the way into turn one, so right into the apex of turn one. Turn in early, get on that power nice and quick, so we're shifting up through the gears. Third gear, fourth gear, I think I'll get the fifth gear. Now I like to shift down to third gear here and keep it in third gear, trail the brake through this corner, nice and tight, come out middle of the track, hard on the accelerator, over the bump here, fourth gear, short shift. Hopefully don't slide like I did that way, all the way up into here, fifth gear, now I shift down to the fourth gear, trail the brake, turn in. Hard on the accelerator coming out here, shift down into second gear. Now I look for a short shift coming out of the chute here, on the power, nice and hard. Now I sort of go as though I'm going to almost drive off the track, take all the track, early turn in, straighten the wheels, get on the power nice and early through here. And through here it's juggling the car on the throttle and brakes in third gear, trying to be as smooth as I possibly can through this section here. Now accelerate nice and hard, third gear, fourth gear. Keep it in here, shift down to third gear, turn in, accelerate hard out of this corner. As I come down to the next one here, I'll shift down to second gear. I want to turn in early, trail the brakes, get on that power nice and quick as I escape here. Coming through to this hairpin, second gear, I take a late turn in, try to straighten out this hairpin as much as I can. On the power early, once again, third gear, shift back into second gear. On the power nice and early again, short shift to third. And that is a lap of the Hungaroring.
JP, what a spectacular lap that was. And watch for a lot of different lines tonight, I guess, mate, through turns 13, 14, and also turn 2, as we've got Craig Schultz, or Simon Chadwick, I believe, actually, is in amongst it tonight for the safety car driving. So Simon Chadwick with a few new duties tonight in race control. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to be a part of our race control team, hit up the RSRA and the SimShed broadcasting pages. The more the merrier. We are always looking to take on new race control staff. Doesn't matter whether you have no experience or all the experience in the world. Help is help, and we're happy to coach you the whole way through it and show you the background of what's going on in that sector, or department, should I say. But Simon Chadwick really wringing the neck out of this Porsche tonight. He was around here last night. Didn't have one of the best nights out on track, but hopefully he doesn't make a mistake like Craig Schultz did at Phillip Island tonight. JP, obviously, none of this is obviously possible as well without our main sponsors and all our other sponsors as well. Obviously, DSL Welding Services for the Super 2 E-Series. Goodyear Auto Care Orano, who's been one of the best sponsors that we've had in the RSRA and formerly known as the Nationwide Technology Systems. Obviously, FU Suicide, ladies and gentlemen, Devon Stove Designs, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, SimShed Broadcasting, Dragon RC. We've also got Track Cams for Gourmet, who bring you all these spectacular camera angles around Hungaroring, and obviously SDK Gaming for all these spectacular overlays. As Simon Chadwick hangs that out sideways in the Porsche on the outlap.
Never let it be said that Simon's going to be safe. He's going to hang it out.
Almost loses it. What a spectacular highlight that would be come the end of the year if we ever do have a highlights reel. And I think that might be something that we can definitely look forward or look into for you, ladies and gentlemen. Create a highlights reel come the Bathurst 1000. A big dance at the end of the year. And what a season it is going to be leading up to that. And to see some of the driver pairings tonight. But decent field tonight as well, ladies and gentlemen, as we're just coming to the end of our driver's briefing. And it's going to be some very hard action racing tonight. Championship points, though, that's another big point that we have to get to, JP, because that's where it's all going to be at the saucy end, and one that we're going to be looking to come into, obviously, round 3 tonight, but coming into the rest of the season. So we can get those up on screen, and we'll find out who's currently leading away at the top end of the field. And it's Kai Turner sitting on 284 points from Middle Finger Racing. Closely trailed over by Adam Moore, then John Gillies in 3rd, Tony Gaffer in 4th, Timmy Mulford in 5th, Stephen Banks in 6th, Alan Dawson in 7th, Matt Whitaker, who's come across from the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. He's currently sitting in 8th position and looking very healthy to challenge the top end of that board at the moment. Peter Kelly in 9th, Stephen Lawrence rounding out your top 10 there, ladies and gentlemen. Over to the page, we've got Troy Allen, who unfortunately won't be racing with us tonight due to a few technical issues. Brian Cooper, Jason Schooler, Jonathan Bain, Daniel Leet, Stephen Martin, Scott Stevens, Tommy Foster, Stead Miller, Brandon O'Loughlin, and quick one on Jonathan Bain as well, ladies and gentlemen. What a night he had in race control last night. It was all action going on in there. David Leslie, Robert Brewer, Andrew Johnson, Corey Brand, Craig Casper, Stuart Crawford, Will Yesberg, Anthony Bismuth, Daniel Schultz, and Rod Hollis rounding out your top 30 there. And moving on to John Nikolaev, Craig Gurry, Gary Crittenden, Jeffrey Eddy, Mark Turner, and Mitch Campbell. Obviously, the remaining 5 drivers there, 4 drivers, should I say. Well, actually, no, there was 5. My eyes do not deceive me, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, it's been a long day in the office here already. I have been non-races so far this season, but closing up on the end of the drivers' briefing and Simon Chadwick, hopefully not sliding around too much more. JP, anything you want to add tonight? Driver of the night that you're looking forward to excelling, or anything of such?
This is going to throw up some great racing, I'm sure. I don't want to go and draw a line in the sand just yet, but I've got to say Simon Chadwick is probably one of the more flamboyant drivers in the RSRA Goodyear Auto Care Warana Super Series, and he's showing off his flamboyance tonight in the safety car. Never let it be said that Simon will hold back.
Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't look like he'll be holding back as he gets booted off track as the servers boot up for the race server, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into this grid and find out who's starting where. And as all roads lead to Kai Turner sitting on the front row, joined by John Gillies, then Adam Moore and Tony Gaffer rounding out row 2, Brian Cooper, Stephen Banks, row 3, Alan Dawson, Rod Hollis, row 4, Stephen Martin, Timmy Mulford rounding out your row 5 there, and then Jason Schooler, Braden O'Loughlin rounding out row 6. Starting from row 7's Matt Whitaker and Stead Miller. Row 8 will see Peter Kelly and Will Yesberg line up next to each other. Robert Brewer and Daniel Leet out of row 9. Jonathan Bain, Corey Brand, row 10. Tommy Foster, Andrew Johnson, row 11. David Leslie, John Nikolaev, will see him out of row 12. And then we head over to Daniel Schultz, Jeffrey Eddy out of row 13. Row 14, we'll see Stephen Lawrence and Mitch Campbell line up next to each other. And then Stuart Crawford, Troy Allen. Those two will be not starters tonight, unfortunately. Race Control decided to make a boo-boo with Stuart Crawford, unfortunately, and he won't be joining us tonight. And then obviously Simon Chadwick, the number 4 in the Porsche safety car tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Red lights are on. We are underway for round 3 at the Hungaroring. Kai Turner gets an absolute screamer at the start. John Gillis goes to fence it down the inside of the pit lane. Can they make a move on him around the outside? It's all cold tyres. They're 4 wide in the background. Can they get through nice and cleanly? Doesn't look like there's any smoke so far as Kai Turner bolts from the start of the field. The Cooper up the inside of Gillis and makes a move into turn 2. Gillis will try and hold the outside and force the move again into turn 3. Can't get it done though, and Brian Cooper moves up in the 2nd position. Very strong start from that man right there. There's still Dyson and Weaven in the background. They're 4 wide coming out of turn 3. That's a big pack leading down the back there. Into the middle part of the circuit now. Through turn 4, into 5. And then making their way up to turn 6. And look at this, Brian Cooper has caught up. Oh no, has caught up to Kai Turner. So Kai Turner's made a little bit of a fumble. some stage. And Brian Kubert right on the back of this man right now and really making him work for it on this opening lap. 37 laps tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget that. We'll try and squeeze that in before iRacing decides to boot us out. Brian turning out, got his wits about him and starting to slowly put some car lengths in between him and Brian Kubert. John Gillis though, all over, has Tony Gaffer all over the back of him. And Tony Gaffer's going to try and force through somewhere up the inside of 13 or 14. He's playing patiently at the moment as they make the approach to turn 14 now. Going to come across the start-finish line and start lap 2. What will Tony Gaffer bring out tonight? We know he's a strong driver and he's a strong finisher as well. Qualifying has to be there, but his race pace has. As they come across the start lap 2 now, JP, very, very clean opening lap compared to what we saw last night.
Yeah, these guys are really showing up, the Super Series drivers. They've done a great job to start off with. None of the argy-bargy that we saw last night, none of the mess on the start that we saw last night.
What a start that was last night though, JP. And ladies and gentlemen, if you were not watching, head over and have a look. It's probably one of the most craziest starts we've ever seen, with half the field being taken out. And unfortunately, it does happen in racing, and we've seen it many, many of times in the real world, whether it be a car stalling or just a couple cars come together. Tony Gaffer with a little bit of a lock-up on the inside right. Adam Moore now putting the pressure on it. Tony Gaffer, John Gillis is managed to get some breathing room over him and start hunting down Brian Cooper. Kai Turner though looking honest up front. Brian Cooper is not letting him go at this stage right now. They come through turn 8 into 9. Making their way through 10 and then up to 11 now. On board with Adam Moore, the Iridium Sim Sports. Car 84, looking at the back of Tony Gaffer, number 411. And the top 5 so far have stretched out very, very nicely. Got a little bit of space between them just to work with a little bit. Keep those engines nice and cool, but Adam Moore getting closer and closer to Tony Gaffer, ever so slowly, taking the milliseconds out of him. Then we go back to Alan Dawson in 6th, Rod Hollis in 7th, Jason Schooler in 8th, Stephen Martin in 9th, Matt Whittaker rounding out your top 10, ladies and gentlemen. Already some big moves though. Mitch Campbell, 13 positions gained off the start line. That is an incredible gain. There's a couple of the Century Motorsports go through turn 1 there. And everybody is spaced out beautifully. Kai Turner though, 1:46.93, fastest lap of the race so far as he comes and starts lap 3.
Have a look at this, Matt. We have our first American driver in the series, Jeff Eddy. Now he's from New York, upstate New York, so he stays awake so he can race this series. So great to see our brothers from overseas, from the United States, joining us to race.
Welcome to Jeff Eddy from the United States of America, the US of A. And it's good to see Jeffrey Eddy getting up and amongst it with us Aussies down here. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, as well, we've got a few over from the other side of the sea as well in New Zealand that are racing with us as well. Andrew Johnson being one of those drivers. So he's up nice and late for Jeffrey Eddy. He's going to be up extremely late. And if the time serves me correct, JP, I think it's roughly about 2 o'clock in the morning, I believe, over there. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in upstate New York.
What a way to start the day, eh?
What a way to start the day, that's for sure. And if he does this before going to work, holy heck, that is one committed driver to the RSRA for doing that. And we welcome Jeff Eddy with a very warm and open arms to make him feel welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as well, and show him some love as we are on board now with car 83 by looks of it. Making pressure all over the moment. Little bit of race boys going to be Peter Kelly or Jonathan Bain. Ben Miller just behind him, and he's supporting a little bit of aerodynamic damage as well. Tucked up under that slipstream. That's not going to affect him too much as Bain runs wide in turn 1. That's allowing Peter Cohen to get by. And Stan Miller now going to try and force a move around the outside turn 2. What can Stan Miller do here? Can he hold around the outside and make a move into 3? Runs a little bit too wide. and can't put the pressure on Bain now. And Peter Kelly slots himself up into position 12.
That was a brilliant move by Kelly.
Brawl.
That was a brilliant move by Kelly there. He made himself, he went defensive going into turn 1. John O'Bain just went a little bit too wide, maybe outbroke himself, and that allowed Kelly to get through. Yeah, brilliant move.
That's the one way to get past the drivers in turn 1, ladies and gentlemen. Make yourself known in the mirrors. Try and play a someone who's defensive one to drive behind you. Smoke the driver in front, force him to outbrake himself and front that little bit wide, and that continues to run. If you can get it rolled in the whole way to turn 2. But at the moment, they're running single file most of the way around the track. A few cars dicing in the background there as they peek over the crest. At the moment, on board now with Tony Gaffer. Kona Sim Sports now grooving over to, I believe, that is Braden O'Loughlin. R97, there it is. Braden O'Loughlin from the Frog Elite Racing Crew. He's now putting pressure all over David Leslie from After Dark Sim Racing. Big sponsor, Dragon RC down the side of that. Just ahead of them, Andrew Johnson holding firm. He's a privateer this season. Started up his own team and running under Andrew Johnson Racing. But he's our longest standing driver at the moment. Looking out the back now of David Leslie on Braden O'Loughlin. Braden O'Loughlin has a little bit of a look into turn 1. Can't get it done, but comes right up on the back bumper of Leslie and makes a little bit of a mistake. Locks the inside front and loses quite a few car lengths to Leslie. Have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Moore and Tony Gaffer drinking it out now. It's a drag race up to turn 3. Turn 4, my apologies, that was. Turn 4. Tony Gaffer makes a big mistake, runs wide, but doesn't allow Morse to get through. This is going to promote Alan Dawson now onto the back bumper of Gaffer. Sorry, that's my apologies. That was Tommy Foster and Stephen Lawrence. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. My eyesight is not too great tonight. And I believe that's Jonathan Bain finally in a position to step over there. So Jonathan Bain not having a great race tonight around Hungaroring. He's lost out on a couple positions. He's up 5 from where he started. Not a strong qualifier, but it quite looks like he just can't get that car handling right on the track, JP. It's looking a little bit squirmy to me.
Yeah, look, he just had a moment and went off track there before, which allowed Stead Miller to get on by. So expect Jono to regroup, recover, and get on with it soon.
And the first of our pit stoppers already, Peter Kelly in the pits. Timmy Mulford, Will Yesberg, they have been in the pits now for 4 and 7 minutes. We wonder what's happened to them. They're down 17 and 12 from where they started. Peter Kelly making his way down pit lane. Is this one of the first, or is that a drive-through penalty? That looks like it's a drive-through penalty for Peter Kelly that we haven't been notified about from race control. So Peter Kelly may have had a drive-through penalty there, ladies and gentlemen. He's taken a long way down the front straight. But at the moment, we just had eyes on David Leslie there. Now on the eyes, the 4-1-2. 4-1-2 of Jason Schooler. He's part of the Century Motorsport team, and he's got Callum Murray Racing for company, along, which is Matt Whitaker, and then you got Robert Braun and Stephen Martin just behind him. This is a good little tight battle pack. Then you've got a battle pack between Gaffer, Moore, Dawson, Hollis, Schooler, and Hollis there, and then it goes back to Schooler, Whitaker, Braun, Martin. That's a nice little couple battle packs forming up there. Everyone's really just sorted themselves out. It is a long race tonight, JP, and hopefully, we talked about it the other week, it started to die off just a little bit, and the moment we said that, all action fired up, and we hope the drivers really start to turn up once the pit stops get underway. Head over to Kai Turner now, as he's making his way down to turn 1. We might just wait for you one more lap. We'll ride on board with him here. And we'll crank up the volume, ladies and gentlemen. So turn that volume up to 100%. and we'll get Kai Turner taking for a flying lap. He's leading from Ryan Cooper by 0.9 of a second. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? On board with Kai Turner. He takes you for a flying lap, listening to the sounds of the V8 supercar around Hungaroring as he comes across the start, lap 8 of 37. And have a look behind him, ladies and gentlemen. He's been keeping him honest this whole entire time as he runs wide. Kai Turner runs extremely wide, and Brian Cooper's going to look at trying to make the most of it. He's kept him honest. He stayed within a second. And Kai Turner with a slight mistake allowed Cooper to come right up on the back bumper. What can Kai do right now to answer to this? Can he get away from Cooper, or is Cooper going to really put the pressure on him now?
And this is what Cooper
John
just
Gillies
needs to
is
do.
running
He
a
just
quiet
needs to
race
keep...
behind. JP.
Yeah, this is what Cooper needs to do. He just needs to keep the pressure on. Keep getting Kai to make mistakes. This is the third mistake that Kai's made now. Keep getting him to make mistakes, and eventually he might wear him down.
Kai Turner doesn't look like he's a man all about the pressure, because the moment Brian Cooper puts it on, Kai Turner makes a slight little mistake, and that's all Cooper's got to do right now. On board now, Adam Moore, Tony Gaffer, and Rod Hollis just behind him. Sorry, Alan Dawson, my apologies. These three have been battling it out since the green flag has dropped. This has now been going on for 8 laps, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of Matt Whitaker on Jason Schooler by the looks of it. He has a little bit of a look. Oh, sorry, Steve. No, it's Matt Whitaker and Jason Schooler there. Stephen Martin is behind him, JP. So my eyes actually got me through on that one. I'm actually glad with that. They're starting to come good, ladies and gentlemen, as it's been a very, very long Wednesday. Onto the main straight they come now. JP, tyre life around here. We know Hungaroring's very high tyre degradation. Not so much the same as Suzuka, but a warm track really is going to start hurting these drivers coming into the pit laps now. I believe lap 12 we're going to be seeing, lap 12, 13 roughly, we're going to be seeing the drivers pit. Big slide there from one of the, I believe that might have been Mitch Campbell, who's just currently putting the pressure on Jonathan Bain at the moment. But the tyre degradation around here for the drivers, they're going to be feeling it around that first pit stop window. They opt to take tyres now, considering the track is only just going to heat up as the race goes on.
Look, they're either going to take the pain now, or take it later. If I was racing here, I'd want to have the freshest tyres to finish off the race. So personally, I would be doing my tyres in the second stop. But yeah, you're right. This track is very high on tyre degradation. They're going to be feeling it. The cars are going to be sliding. They don't want to be sliding and locking up too much, because as they start to do that, their cars are going to start to slide even more. So yeah, have a look. I think there's going to be a few different sort of permutations, but expect the leaders to carry on and then pit for their tyres on their second stop.
that seems to be the setting trend at the moment over the Tuesday and Wednesday night motorsports, JP. The strategies, though, I mean, they can really get thrown up in the air. We haven't seen anybody. Daniel Schultz and Corey Brand. Corey Brand's obviously had a little bit of an off somewhere. Maybe we can get a replay of that because he's been in the pits for quite some time. And Daniel Schultz, he's made his second pit stop. They're a lap and 2 laps down each. Will Jesberg, Timmy Mulford, they're back out on track and they're circulating. So something's happened to them at the start of the race. But coming into, we'll grab a replay of that. We've actually found out what's going on here. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's have a quick look at this. This is on Corey Brand from the Century Motorsports. And, avoids all the mayhem. And then just comes together with, by the look of it,
that was Corey Brown and Daniel Leet. That actually happened on the first lap.
So we completely missed that, JP, and that would explain why Daniel Leet has dropped 5 positions from where he was, and Corey Brand's now circulating 2 laps down. He's obviously trying to pit in for a fast repair, and that's one thing that they do get, ladies and gentlemen, is a fast repair. But not tonight, my apologies, what I'm hearing. But Corey Brand, he's been in the pits now for 3 minutes and 23 seconds. He's now on his way out to commence his to race. So if he can stay the way he is and keep it out of trouble, he'll get the 75% race distance and get the championship points that he needs to continue fighting on. Daniel Schultz, Will Jesberg, Timmy Mulford, those guys have been out. Will Jesberg, Timmy Mulford, they've been out for quite some time. Daniel Schultz, he's 2 laps down. So something's happened to those drivers at some point in the race. Oh no! That's Deb Miller, ladies and gentlemen, missing a bonnet and a lot of damage down the side of his vehicle. Something has happened to him while we've been talking about the boys in the pits and watching the replay. He's now dropped back to 13th position behind Mitch Campbell. Why don't we get a replay of that one to see? No replay, unfortunately. We can't find it. So Sted Miller has had a big off. Jonathan Bain in the pits, though. The first of our pit stops underway by Jonathan Bain, lap 11. That's a little bit early. JP, back to what I was saying. Strategy all thrown up in the air. We've got pit windows open now. You pit now. You go an 11 lap. You're just going to miss out on making it home on fuel, I think. I haven't really done the numbers either. Don't have a calculator handy on me. Well, I apologise about that one, ladies and gentlemen. But fuel strategy, tyre strategy, everything's going to be thrown up in the air now. We've got one person already making it to the pits. Jonathan Bain's going to try and go the long game now and go 2 long stints. He's got the short stint out of the way. What would your plan of attack be? Would you try and go the 13, 13, and 11, or would you go 14, 14, and 14, 14, and the rest, and have a nice short stint at the end? What would your strategy be coming into Hungaroring and knowing it's such a difficult track to get around and a little bit difficult to try and fuel save on?
Look, I would definitely play the long game on a track like this. So I would go the full tank of fuel to start off with, nurse the car, nurse the tyres, knowing full well that I want to pick up my fresh set of tyres with as little laps as I can possibly have under my belt, and then go out as hard as I possibly can and just try and either charge through the field or consolidate my lead.
Well, as we've been talking about strategy there, JP, Alan Dawson, Stephen Martin, Robert Brostad, Millen, Stephen Lawrence, Mitch Campbell, Tommy Foster, John Nicolai, David Leslie, Peter Kelly into the pits.
We've got a car on track.
No, there's a car in the fence. There's a car stuck in the fence, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to bring out the safety car. That's why my boards are lining up all orange with everybody in the pits. Let's have a look at this. That's Braden O'Loughlin, ladies and gentlemen. Braden O'Loughlin's had a big moment. JP, talk us through it.
Yeah, look, I think it might have been Braden O'Loughlin. There we go. Big slide and into the fence, and that's all she wrote.
And he's not moving from there at all. He's not moving at all. And what are the drivers going to do now? Safety car boards and flags, ladies and gentlemen. There's Simon Chadwick out on track.
So that will bring in the entire field for their pit stop. Now, what this hasn't done... Yeah, here we go. Leaders are in the pits now.
Turner and Cooper in. So what's happened already, ladies and gentlemen, Alan Dawson from Iridium Sim Sports all the way down to Jeff Eddy now, they've all pitted. So if they can get around and make this lap as quick as they possibly can whilst these guys are in the pits, they might have a chance of getting out in front of them. They might be able to get out in front of them. This is all going to come down to how fast these guys can have an outlap on old tyres, if they are still on them. If not, they're on used tyres. Kai Turner now in his pit box, along with Gillies, Gafford, Cooper, Hollis, Schooler, and Whitaker. Adam Moore's already made his pit stop, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is coming around the final corner now. Alan Dawson just behind him. Kai Turner's out, Brian Cooper's out, John Gillies out. So there we go. That answers the question. But what can this do for Adam Moore on Tony Gaffer? Gaffer's moving from his box. He's now out of the pit lane. There he is there. But that sorts out the positions. Everybody's sort of, they've all gone back to where they were when they came in. So Kai Turner put one of the quickest laps he possibly could together as the safety car came out. Now if he was smart, he'd be trying to save as much fuel as he possibly can right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Instead of giving it all the bends, which he is, because he's pulling away from Brian Cooper at a rapid rate of knots, he should be saving as much fuel as he possibly can right now to be able to conserve for the next pit stop and try and make that run to the finish line as short as possible, JP.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the smartest move going out full tilt with the safety car there. He knows he's going to come back into P1. What he should be doing is he should be starting to hold the field up a little bit. But, you know, shoulda, woulda, couldas and all of that. We're commentating their racing.
Well, they'd know more than us, wouldn't they, JP? So, obviously, Kai Turner's just getting up to the back of the safety car, so he doesn't, maybe fearing a penalty from race control a little bit for taking too long to catch back up. Maybe he's been given orders to hurry up and catch the safety car from race control. We're not entirely sure. Lap 13 of 37, ladies and gentlemen, about to start lap 14 under safety car right now. If you are joining us, Braden O'Loughlin into the fence and into the fence hard. But thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are watching from in Australia or around the world for the DSL Welding Services RSR8 Super 2 E-Series. Kai Turner, your current leader. Brian Cooper in second. John Gillies round out your podium there. Tony Gaffer, Adam Moore, Alan Dawson, Rod Hollis, Jason Schooler, Matt Whitaker, Stephen Martin rounding out your top 10. And they have officially caught the safety car now. And Simon Chadwick running at 6/8 or 6/10 of the pace compared to what he was running in the driver's briefing. And if he makes a mistake now, it'd be very, very hard to do, I'd say, JP.
Yeah, I don't think it'll look right for the V8 drivers trying to keep up with the safety car.
No, not only that, it's let's hope he doesn't go for an excursion off grass, as we've seen Schultze and Lee Davis do. But under safety car lights at the moment. Is it going to be a short one or is it going to be a 3-lapper to get that car cleared out of the wall?
Look, I think now that the safety car's out, they'll clear the car. The field has been cleansed. So I'd say that now they're behind the safety car, we might actually see the safety car come in this lap.
Look for those headlights to go out, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, this is our own safety car in the RSRA Super Series and Super 2 E-Series. So there's no flashing yellow lights. The only indication is the headlights on the front of the car. And once they go out, that means Simon Chadwick will be coming into the pits. Nice and slow pace held by Simon Chadwick. This may indicate that he's just backing the field up to come into the pits. We saw last night the safety car was meant to turn the lights off, but they didn't. And the surprised us with a cheeky dive into the pits last minute. There we go. There's a car cleared. So that might mean there's going to be one more lap, ladies and gentlemen, after they've cleared one car. That was Corey Brand getting a lap back from the leaders. Bruno Loughlin, Daniel Lee in the pits now. And unfortunately, by the looks of it, their race is done. Another car goes around, gets another lap back. That would be, I believe, no, there's two cars there getting a lap back. So one of them would be Timmy Mulford. And the other one, I believe it was Will Yesberg, the 083. So another couple cars getting their laps back, ladies and gentlemen. Not going to help them too much. But very, very big accident we just witnessed coming around. I believe that was turn 10, quite possibly. I can't remember the turn exactly. One more lap under safety car by the looks of it, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Chadwick comes around turn 14 now, leads the field around to bring it over to 23 laps to go in the race. Our first pit stops are already have been dealt with. They've been finished. Everybody's fueled up, ready to race to the second pit stops. What can Brian Cooper do now, though? We know he's been putting the pressure on Kai Turner. He's been keeping him on as John Gillies was running a very lonely race there in third. Tony Gaffer, though, had immense amounts of pressure from Adam Moore and Alan Dawson there. And Rod Hollis. And then Matt Whitaker was putting immense amounts of pressure as well on Jason Schooler. And Stephen Martin was in that battle pack as well, who rounds out your top 10 as we stand right now, ladies and gentlemen. Round 3 of 11. This all leads to the big dance. And now it's probably quite a good time as well, JP, to mention that Cup Car Warriors second last round on Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by the Simshed Broadcasting crew.
Yeah, just a message here from Daniel Leott. Unfortunately, he had to bow out of the race. Lap 1 with a expired engine after contact.
Unfortunate for Daniel, mate. Unfortunate for you, mate. Hopefully we get to see you back here next week and get that car fixed right up. And back to Saturday night as well, ladies and gentlemen. Join Zach Caven and myself in the booth for some Cup car racing. It'll be my first night in Cup car racing, so it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Simon Chadwick still leading the field around. Very, very long track, the Hungaroring. 1:46 Kai Turner's done, and that's the quickest we have seen all night long. Our top 3 in the pit times, they were only separated by a very small amount. 19.08 for Kai Turner, 19.6 for Brian Cooper, 19.28 for John Gillies. Simon Chadwick's checked out from the front of the field. That only means one thing, ladies and gentlemen. We're racing, and Kai Turner's bolted a little bit early.
That's too early. He's catching up to the safety car. Now this could actually lead to a penalty. He cannot fall more than 5 car lengths behind the safety car. Now, if the safety car has not been released and he's fallen more than 5 lengths behind the safety car, that will be a drive-through penalty.
There we go. Hopefully Kai Turner doesn't get the drive-through penalty from that. Simon Chadwick, though, is checked out, and maybe Kai Turner got the message a little bit too early that the safety car was pulling in. But Kai Turner with control over the field now makes the jump out of turn 14. He gets the race back underway, has a little bit of a swerve, tries to get the tyres back up to temperature. Brian Cooper goes with him. John Gillies, 30 gapper behind them. Adam Moore, Alan Dawson, Rod Hollis, Jason Schooler, Matt Whitaker, Stephen Martin, all down the main straight. Into turn 1 for laps 16 to 37, ladies and gentlemen. Kai Turner runs wide. Kai Turner runs wide and deep on the brakes. That promotes Brian Cooper back onto the back bump. Into turn 2 they come. By the looks of it, everyone's through nice and steadily on the restart. Kai Turner just gives a couple more car lengths in between him and Cooper. John Gillies is slowly pulling away from Gaffer. Gaffer's managed to gap more, so he's got a little bit of pressure on Gillies now. What can he make of that? Can he get into a podium position and join us in the commentary booth tonight?
This is going to be really interesting to see what race control does here. If they didn't launch the safety car and Kai fell more than 5 car lengths behind the safety car, he will be called in for a drive-through penalty.
Oh no, Brian Cooper runs a little bit wide. Brian Cooper a little bit wide. That's allowed Gillies to get on the back bumper of him. It's all heating up now for the last positions, or the 2 spots on the podium. Bit of smoke in the background there. Kai Turner with a bit of a squirm out of 13.
There we go.
Kai Turner to the pit lane. That's a drive-through penalty, ladies and gentlemen. That promotes Brian Cooper to the lead. And what can he do with this now? Brian Cooper leads the DSL Welding Services Super 2 Series in Hungaroring for the first time. JP, that's big news.
That has championship implications. That's going to put Kai Turner almost dead last. He's going to come out somewhere around 22nd or 23rd.
22nd position to be exactly precise. Corey Brand a lap down from him. So Kai Turner secures himself 22nd there after that drive-through penalty, ladies and gentlemen. And he's running effectively dead last at the moment. If we don't count those lap drivers. So he's got a lot of work to do over the next 30 laps of racing. 20 laps of racing, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. My mathematics is one minute it's my eyesight, next minute's my mathematics. Zach Gavin will be having a good laugh at that one if he ever watches this back, because he knows I'm not the mathematically minded person. Brian Cooper currently leads our race over John Gillies, Tony Gaffer, Adam Moore, Alan Dawson, Rod Hollis, Joseph Schooler, Matt Whittingham, Stephen Martin, and Robert Braun now sees himself into the top 10 as Cooper has a bit of a moment. Cooper is wringing the neck out of this thing to hold it in the lead over Gillies and Gaffer. And it's a big, long conga line from first all the way down to 14th, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a lot of drivers wanting to dice for position. Through turn 14 they come.
So, Matt, we've just had a few questions on social media here by Riley. Hello, how are we going today? We're going really well today. What kind of racetrack is this? This is the Hungaroring. So, in Hungary, V8s are racing around here tonight. We've got 37 laps. The guys have done 18 of 37 laps so far. Done their first set of pitch stops. That was under the safety car. And now we're up and racing again. And John Gillies is really applying the blowtorch to Brian Cooper at the minute.
A little bit of more information as well. This is actually an F1 circuit as well, ladies and gentlemen, that the V8s are racing around on. We had a comment last night that these cars are definitely not suited to this track. They've got the aerodynamics of a tank or a bus, and they've got 650 horsepower sitting under the front bonnet of that vehicle through a line-locked diff. So line lockers, for those that don't understand, that means both wheels rotate at the same time. It's a limited slip diff, and put too much power to the ground too early, and you light up those Dunlop slicks, and you can do exactly what Braden O'Loughlin did, have a big slide, end up in the wall, and that will be your race done. They're not the easiest cars to handle, ladies and gentlemen, that's for sure. Probably one of the hardest cars on the iRacing server to actually get a grip of. I must admit, when I was in the seat of these things, doing these grueling long races in the RSRA, They really put the test to you. But John Gillies at the moment, have a look at the pressure he is applying to Brian Cooper at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. He's all over the back of Cooper. 0.2 of a second away. Has a little bit of a look on the outside, on the inside. Not close enough though. Just showing the nose to Cooper. Trying to spook him into running wide. Into turn 2 they come now. JP, it's been a bit of the night for it. There's been battles that have been going on. As the looks of it, that is Jonathan Bain on Mitch Campbell. So that's Jonathan Bain on Mitch Campbell. Having a nice look up the inside of the 9.5 car. But JP, it's been a bit of a night for it. These battles have been going on for some 8-9 laps, and they're not letting up.
No, it's been going on all night. Of course, the safety car coming out has bunched the field back up, and the battles have started all over again. So this is some really great racing we're seeing tonight.
Look at this, Matt Whitaker all over the back of Stephen Martin from the Century Motorsport entry. Matt Whitaker sees himself in 9th position at the moment. Has a bit of a look on the inside. Can't get the move done. And it's a big, long train there. There's a 4-car battle at the moment for 8th position, ladies and gentlemen. Through turn 14 they come. All drivers are doing a little bit of procession at the moment. There's not too many big moves being thrown. Not a lot of noses being thrown up on the inside to try and force the move tonight. Nice, clean, hard racing, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we love to see on a Wednesday night. The up-and-comers who are the top 3 who finish in the championship will get an automatic invite, ladies and gentlemen, to the main game, the Super Series, on a Tuesday night motorsport. And Gilly's still applying all the pressure he can possibly give to Brian Cooper. Tony Gaffer just behind them. He's got Adam Moore and Alan Dawson for company. So big slide. Just missed that out in the corner of my eye. But first to fourth, all battling for the same one position as they come through the chicane. That was 6 and 7. Into 8, now around to 9.
And Tony will be seeing all of this in his relative timing. He'll be seeing all of these cars backed up right behind him. The pressure's going to be on, so he's just going to need to do clean lap after lap. Oh, he has another tank slapper.
Brian Cooper with a big tank slapper. His rear tyres are really starting to go, but he's managed to hold off John Gillies with all his might. Takes the defensive line into 13. Nice tight line. But Gillies is going to get the run into 14 here. What can he do? Can he get close enough in 14 to give Cooper a run down the main straight? And have a look into turn 1. High Turner, he got the drive-through penalty. He's now in 20th position. He's made up a couple spots now. Cooper goes defensive. Gillies goes to the outside. Can he outbrake him? Can he do a Reina Costello around the outside? He's going to try.
No, he just
He's
forced
now on the inside of turn 2. What can he do? Brian Cooper shuts the door perfectly. That's some textbook racing right there, ladies and gentlemen. And that's promoted Gaffer and Moore right into this battle now. This is sensational for battling for first position right now, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the best you'll see all season long. JP, how about these drivers? That's all for first position. We're only got 17 laps to go. Starting to close up now on the second lot of pit stops that the drivers are going to be doing. But we know that Hungaroring's big on the off-track department, 16x, and then drive-through penalty, and then I believe it's every 9x after that. They've got to really be careful. We know Reina Costello pushed 13x by the time it was lap 8. So they really have to be careful if they're pushing the limits of these cars, especially battling and trying to get as much track available to them. They've got to be careful of those incident points.
Yeah, absolutely, and they'll be looking at that. They'll know what they need to do. So, you know, what I would be doing is I would be saving my incident points to be able to make my car either as wide as possible or go as hard out as possible, you know, towards the end of the race. But so far, Brian Cooper is doing a really good job of keeping John Gillies behind him. It's a matter of time before John Gillies, you know, makes another move on him. But that lap before, he was able to hold John out, and you know, he's doing a good job.
Cooper's making that tanked SRT Commodore as wide as possible. And currently, it's a four-way battle. 3 holders, 1 forward, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Gaffer. Oh, makes a mistake out of turn 1. He's dropped tons of positions. He's in position 8 now. That gives Gaffer a little bit of breather, and we'll go to a replay. Out of the final corner, Moore and Gaffer on the replay, ladies and gentlemen.
He gets a good run there, but that would have been an off track for him. So what does he do here? Maybe he outbrakes himself. Does all right here.
Break.
Okay, big tank
gets on
slapper.
the power early. Got on the power early, JP, just tank slapped it a little bit. Luckily enough to keep it out of that coaming rail and to save that Ford Mustang. But now he's got a lot of work to do to fight all the way back up to 4th position, especially through this tough top 10 that we've got tonight.
Yeah, Brian Cooper's had a nice little run here. Now, this is going to come down to who blinks first. Whoever goes in for their fresh set of tyres first could be looking at getting that all-important undercut. So this is going to be really interesting.
Brian Cooper, you see the line that he's taken, JP, nice and wide out of turn 13. Almost dummies it going into the pit lane and then darts back out onto the racing line to take turn 14. So it's going to be a tough one for John Gillies to decide, because whether to go for the undercut or the overcut, because Brian Cooper's really selling that dummy to fake it into pit lane, but then darts back out.
Yeah, 100%. But we're seeing Brian Cooper starting to make a little bit some inroads on John Gillies here, and just eking out his lead a little bit.
Is this maybe a bit of a strategy from John Gillies? We'll have to see, ladies and gentlemen. He makes a little bit of time up there under brakes. You see that? He gained a car length. Or took a car length out of Brian Cooper. He's right on the back bumper now. Through the chicane of 6 and 7.
So at this stage here, they should be able to pit and get home. So let's see who blinks first.
Oh, a bit of a squirm from Cooper. They can get home if they pit now. JP has mentioned it. If they pit now, they can get home. But are they going to run the long game? Remember, tyre life and tyre degradation, they go off very, very quickly. We heard drivers last night saying by lap 8 of hard racing, the tyres were completely gone. Brian Cooper into the pits. He's the first one. He sold it perfectly to John Gillies. And Brian Cooper darts to the pits. Absolutely picture perfect. John Gillies now leads the race. Lap 24 of 37, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Moore answers. Jonathan Payne answers. So it's going to be a 13-lap dash to the finish for these drivers. Don't forget, they've got the one cool-down lap as well. Whitaker in, Tommy Foster in also. What can Gillies do? Does he pit now, or does he try and go an extra lap? Don't forget, if he hasn't taken those tyres, he's going to be hurting. We know that once Brian Cooper gets those fresh tyres on, he's going to be faster. And he's going to put in a sensational outlap to try and get that undercut on John Gillies. But what's Gillies going to do to answer? We know he had the pace. He was keeping Cooper honest. Through 6 and 7 he comes now. Brian Cooper now back out on the track. He's circulating in 11th position at the moment. Moore in 16th, Schooler in 15th, Martin in 8th, Hollis in 13th. Gillies goes for one more lap. Dawson decides to dive into the pits. So Gillies has gone for the long game along with Tony Gaffer. This could be, once they come into the pits, yes, they'll take less fuel, but they have to beat a pit time of 14.3 seconds. Can he punch out the laps quick enough to be able to put Cooper at bay? We'll see what Cooper does this time round on his lap. Last lap was obviously a 152 due to the pit lane. And that was also an outlap. But John Gillies a 147 last time round, Gaffer a 149. So Gaffer had a little bit of a fumble somewhere. Mitch Campbell and Robert Broad is battling it out in 3rd and 4th at the moment. From what I can see on my timing boards here, ladies and gentlemen. Tyre Turner's found himself up in 7th, but he's still yet to make a pit stop. John Gillies stays out for yet another lap. So he's going the real long game now here, ladies and gentlemen. JP, this could hurt John big time. If he can't produce the laps, he's just gone across the 147, 6-7. Gaffer now into the pits, ladies and gentlemen. We wait to see what Brian Cooper does here. He's currently 39 seconds behind the leader.
Now this is really interesting because John Gillies is in clean air. Brian Cooper is in clean air. So Brian Cooper can start churning out laps now if he wants to. It's going to be interesting to see what his lap is. This is going to be his first flying lap. So let's see where he's sitting, and we'll probably get a better idea of where this might all end. So 147.2. So slightly faster than John Gillies. So he is putting time on John. So this isn't necessarily going to work out for John Gillies going the long game here.
No, John Gillies needs to pit now. He needs to pit now. There's no question about it. He's losing too much time to Brian Cooper. Brian Cooper 39 seconds behind the leader. 14-second pit stop. That leaves John Gillies with a transit time of roughly 35 seconds he needs to have. He needs to be able to transit through pit lane, have a pit time of less than 14 seconds. Here we go now. We'll jump on board with Brian Cooper. We'll see where he is on track. We'll keep you up to date of where John Gillies is in the pit lane. Extremely fast entry there for John. That was superb. He needed that. He needs to make up time there. Brian Cooper could have had a bit of a slower one. We don't know. Time can be made and gained on the entry to the pit lane limiter line.
John's still moving. He hasn't stopped in his box yet. Now, when he does stop, he will be stationary for less time. He's in his box now. He's stopped. Here comes Cooper around the last turn.
I think it's too far gone, JP. 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 12 seconds. Oh, too long of a pit stop for John. He's down in the box now. That's going to be too late. Cooper goes by the pit lane. And he's on 3-lap fresher tyres. Has Cooper picked up those tyres? What can Gillies do now? Can he catch up?
Now he's made the overcut work for him. Cooper has, but Gillies isn't that far behind him. And like you said, Gillies does have 3-lap fresher tyres. However, Cooper's tyres are up to temperatures. Gillies needs to get his up to temperature. So he's going to be maybe tentative for this first part of the lap, and then he's going to start piling on the pressure.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to really turn the wick up now and try and put the immense amounts of pressure on Brian Cooper to try and make up the time that he lost. John Gillies, if he hadn't have stayed out that long, he would have made up and probably been able to come out in front, if not right on the back bumper of Cooper. He did stop though for an extra second longer, so that's really hurt him. He's 1.5 seconds away, so if he hadn't have obviously overfueled a little bit too much, I guess, JP, he would have been able to get that dialed in and either taken the lead of the race or jumped onto the back bumper.
Well, here's the question: did he underfuel, or sorry, did he overfuel, or did Brian Cooper underfuel?
Oh yes, that's another very good point and question to ask. Actually, it's Brian. We all know, JP, that the you've got to get the cool down lap sorted. If you don't do the cool down lap, it's a three place penalty to the driver that failed to do that. So, and that's championship implicating points there. So, we've already seen Kai Turner fall out of the championship at the moment due to finishing so far down due to that drive-through penalty. And this could play implications as well now to Brian Cooper or John Gillies if they've underfueled.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, they have to complete their cool down lap. They don't need to put a full amount of fuel. These cars are about 3.6 litres a lap. They don't need to put that much in there. They just have to have enough to do their cool down lap, and they can do that on the clutch a little bit. But yeah, that's going to be interesting with the tactics here. They both seem to be matching each other for lap speed. Don't know, maybe John's sitting back waiting for Brian to burn out his tyres a little bit earlier. Brian seems to be doing a great job of it at the minute. So yeah, look, race on. Let's see what happens over the next 9 laps. Yeah, Daniel
laps to go now, ladies and gentlemen, and we're looking to really turn the wick up now as it starts to heat up at the front. It's 1.5 seconds, still a gap to Brian Cooper from John Gillies. Kai Turner currently leading the race, but he's still yet to make a pit stop. He's gone the real long game now. Robert Brewer into the pits. That's the second last driver to make the final pit stop. But look at that gap, ladies and gentlemen. That's immense gap back to John Gillies from Brian Cooper.
So Brian Cooper's last lap was a 147.8. John was a 148.2. So at this stage, Brian has his measure, but he does have 3-lap older tyres. So will this come back to John in the dying stages of the race?
It's very different lap times there, JP. He's put on a couple tenths on John Gillies there. And it's really going to come down to the last couple laps, I believe. Big lock up there. That's Robert Brewer going through on screen there with, I believe it was Peter Kelly. Alan Dawson just in front of them. No, sorry, my apologies. Stephen Lawrence just in front of them. And then it goes to Mitch Campbell from the 9.5 Sim Sport. Haven't seen much of the 9.5s this season, JP, I must admit. They've been a little bit quiet in the Super 2 series.
Well, I think we've only got one or two cars from 9.5 in the Super 2 series. Everybody else is in the Super series. So we tend to see these guys a little bit more on a Tuesday night, given the amount of cars that we have in the series there. But considering that I think we only have, like I said, one or two 9.5 guys in this series, Mitch is doing a pretty good job.
He's holding his head high there for the 9.5s and representing them well. I believe Ash Davis was another one.
Turner's in the pits.
Oh, big moment! Big moment there for the 4-1-2 Jason Schooler. Big slide and he was able to catch it.
Have a look at this. We've been watching Adam Moore and Tony Gaffer duke it out all race long, and we come towards the tail end of the race, 8 laps to go, and what are we seeing? Adam Moore and Tony Gaffer duking it out again for position. So this has been almost an entire race of these two cars racing each other. There you go. A couple of comments here from Frog Leap Racing 066. Mitch only downloaded the track tonight, so considering he's in P9 after only downloading the track tonight, that's a pretty awesome effort. I was going to say, looks like I may have lost my my co-host for the night, but no, I haven't. He's just stepped away from the microphone for a little minute. But yeah, you wouldn't think that these guys have been racing for 31 laps. They are pressing on, and they are going to give it their all right down to the very last lap. Peter Kelly here on John O'Bain. He's really applying the pressure.
Yeah, really applying pressure. I actually don't know what happened to my microphone there, JP. I think might have had a little bit of a glitch. It was glitching out last night, quite a little bit as well, and I go to talk and it wasn't working. But obviously the issues have resolved over tonight, so it's amazing what happens with technology, ladies and gentlemen, and how many issues it can cause you. We know the NBN decides to play up here and there, and we go to a replay now.
Have a look at this. This is the ongoing battle between Adam Moore and Tony Gaffer here. Adam Moore puts a move on Tony Gaffer, tries to put a move on Tony Gaffer up the inside, makes it stick. Tony Gaffer says, no, thank you. I'm not going to give up that easily. Round the outside, following Adam Moore, gets position back for this corner now, retakes the position, happy days, and press on.
That's been a substantial battle. Ladies and gentlemen, this battle has been going on for, what now, 31 laps. So, that's a big, long battle between these two. It did drop out for a little bit. Gaffer had a little bit of breathing space after Moore made a slight mistake. But he's definitely come back. And Gaffer's lost out a little bit of time, and Moore's come back and he's wanting to take that position away right now. As Kai Turner is looking up the back end bumper there of Stephen Lawrence. Peter Kelly in front of them. And on board and back again with this amazing battle going on that's been going all race. Gaffer and Moore. School and Martin and Hollis in front of them. They're not going to be able to get by this late in the race. The tyres will be well and truly gone now. Look at that. 3 Century Motorsport cars on the screen. One of them pulls up. That'll be Corey Brand. Allows the leaders to go through, then gets back underway. Extremely good racecraft there by that man to allow these guys that are battling so hard through. Gaffer's managed to put a little bit of gap on Moore. He's now over the back of Schooler. That's allowing Stephen Martin just to skip away a tiny little bit now.
All the while this is going on, Cooper and Gillies are trading lap time. So last lap around, Cooper did a 148.1, Gillies a 147.8. So there's nothing in it, although Cooper does have a lead over Gillies at this stage.
And it's slowly coming down. As you've been talking there, JP, John took out another 10th, but then Cooper just put another 10th back, or another 2 tenths back on, should I say. So they're trading tenths here and there. It just goes to show who's stronger in one part of the corner, who's stronger in another part of the corner. Now Gillies takes 4 tenths out of Cooper, so he's still really going to be duking out right to the finish, along with Gaffer and Moore.
Yeah, I tell you who's been flying under the radar.
Ron Hollis.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that as well, JP. Ron Hollis is sitting in a podium position right now, and it's going to be his first one of the season.
And look at his car. It looks pristine.
Absolutely pristine. It's still got the gloss work on the paintwork. He hasn't copped too much rubber from the flak in front of him, and he's really flown under the radar. So don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if Ron Hollis gets 3rd position, which will be 148 points, I believe, JP, for 3rd position. And then an extra 5 bonus points for a clean race. He's going to be taking out the round win.
146 plus 5, but, you know.
146 plus 5, I mean, that's only...
What's 2 points amongst friends?
What was that? Sorry, mate?
What's 2 points amongst friends? But another one that's been flying underneath the radar, Mitch Campbell. He's been plugging away all night, come up 19 positions to be in P9. Once again, his car's looking pretty clean as well.
A hard charge reward tonight will definitely go to Mitch Campbell for the positions that he's gained. 15 gained to Stephen Lawrence as well, JP. So another good drive by Stephen Lawrence after starting in 27th position. A couple other big movers, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Bain, he's up 9. Chief Race Control Steward, if I can get the words out correctly. That's a bit of a tongue twister. There's quite a lot of long tongue twisting ones in the RSRA.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah, exactly. There's also 6 apiece to John Nicolaev and David Leslie. And then also in the top 10, you've got Schooler, Martin and Hollis up 6, 5 and 5. So Brian Cooper started 5th and he's currently leading the race. So quite a few small moves, but definitely the big movers, Campbell and Lawrence.
Now this is really interesting. It looks as though Schooler's holding up Gaffer here, which is allowing Moore to have a good look at him. So Tony's got to try and get around Jason as quickly as he can now. Otherwise, he's going to fall into the clutches of Adam Moore.
Doesn't want to do that, JP. Lap 34 of 37, ladies and gentlemen. 3 laps to go as they drag it down the main straight another time. Gaffer goes to the inside. That's going to hurt his chances of making a run on Jason in the turn 2. Runs a nice tight line. Runs a little bit wide.
What he had to do.
Gets the power down early and gets it done perfect.
Actually, that was a pretty good move. I don't know whether Tony knew that he was doing that, but by taking a shallower line in there, he actually forced Adam to go wide, which compromised his exit speed and allowed Tony to sort of skip away from him a little bit.
In compromising Moore's exit speed there, JP, he's actually made a little bit of time on Jason as well doing that. So hopefully Gaffer can learn from that one, maybe do it again and gain up another 10th or 2. He's only half a second away now from Jason as they come to the back end of the track. Andrew Johnson on screen there, missing his rear spoiler, so he's had it off someplace on the track. And Jeff Eddy circulating, the American from the US of A, circulating in 21st position. The last car on the lead lap and doing well in the 177.
Yeah, he's done an absolute ripper job, Jeff has. He's the only one in his team that actually even tries to drive these V8s, and no one in his team's brave enough to have a go at them. So hats off to him, doing a great job. Great to see him racing with us. So, yep. So go hard, mate. And he's really chasing after Andrew Johnston here.
Get by Johnson, that'll be in the top 20 for Jeff Eddy. 2 laps to go now for him. Using up all the available track there is. Johnson with a little bit of aero damage there, but look at this. Gaffer's managed to gap more. Not by much, but he's managed to do it by enough.
But
he's slowly closing back up onto Jason.
Does he have enough in the tank to get Jason?
That's the question. Stephen Martin's made a little bit of a fuffle somewhere. He's managed to fall back into the clutch of his teammate Jason. So there's going to be team orders there to hold these two off. But Cooper and Gillies. If you have a look at it, Gillies has made a mistake at some point on the track because he's out to a 5-second gap now behind Cooper. So Gillies has made a little bit of a mistake somewhere out on track. And he's fallen way behind Cooper. That's allowed Cooper to steal the show now. Surely that's enough if Cooper can avoid making a mistake and run it clean to the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be Brian
Cooper's
Cooper's
just
first
checked
win
out.
of the season.
Yeah, Cooper's checked out now, so he just has to keep it clean, keep it moving to the end there, avoid any lap traffic if there is any in front of him.
Yeah, the only lap traffic you'll be getting really that's going to be putting up a battle would be Jeff Eddy and Andrew Johnson if he can catch him, but they're a further 40 seconds down the road from them because they're currently circulating a minute behind the leaders at the moment. So look at this battle heating up here, ladies and gentlemen, for inside the top 10 for position number 9. Mitch Campbell, Jonathan Bain, Robert and Peter Kelly really battling it out now. Big square by Campbell. Bain runs a little bit wide. That's allowing Peter Kelly to come around the outside into turn 14. Can Kelly get a run on Bain down the main straight? Bain gets the power down nice and early. Tries to get a good run into the slipstream of Mitch Campbell. What can Peter Kelly do? He's tucked up right behind the rear bumper. Bain runs defensive. Is he going to run Kelly wide? They touch! They touch! Big lock up on Jonathan Bain! And that's now promoted Stephen Lawrence into the battle. Stephen Lawrence all over the back end of Peter Kelly. He's going to have a look up the inside of turn 2. Can't get it done. Very, very lucky to get away with it there, Jonathan Bain, and not have the car spun on him. But Brian Cooper, lap 36 of 37. He's now coming up to turn 12. Turn 11, my apologies. Then making the run down to 12. Look at that for a camera angle in the curve as the car flies over it. What a spectacular angle, and that would have been superb on the restart. Into 13. Make his way into 14. To start the last lap of the DSL Welding entry Super 2 E-Series.
So here's a little bit of inside information. I don't know if it's correct. It's a maybe from one of the members of Frog Leap Racing team saying that maybe John just doesn't have enough fuel for the cool down lap and he's conserving fuel, trying to save fuel to make sure that he gets home.
Well, very big ask because an extra second long pit stop, Jay, but you'd think that that John would have taken more fuel on board than what Brian Cooper did. So very questionable one at that one. So we'll have to actually, once John gets up here, to find out exactly how much. He could have burnt up quite a lot.
Have a look at this. It's not over.
Game. Look at this. Tony Gaffer at it more. They're still drinking it out. Into turn 2. Gaffer runs wide. Can he get the run into 3? No, he can't. Moore finally gets Gaffer. Bain up the inside of Kelly now into turn 2 as well. Oh, they touch. They touch. Kelly goes up on 2 wheels. Have a look at this. 2 and 3. And they still drinking it out. Bain on the grass. It's all lined up now on the last lap, ladies and gentlemen. They know it's do or die, and they want those final positions. But this man, after taking the lead from Kai Turner, he's driven a flawless race.
See, that's what happens when you flash your lights too early, you go wide.
You do, you run yourself deep on the brakes. But Brian Cooper is going to be celebrating his first victory in the RSRA Super 2E Series, brought to you by the DSL Welding Services, the Hungaroring. Brian Cooper, you are a winner. Welcome to the winner's circle. You deserve it. Race winner, Brian Cooper. Second goes to John Gillies, and third will be rounded out by Rod Hollis, who's managed to catch John Gillies in the dying moments, but doesn't have enough. Then Jason Schooler, Adam Moore, who gets Tony Gaffer on the last lap. Then Stephen Banks, Mitch Campbell, and Jonathan Bain round out your top 10 there, ladies and gentlemen. But this man from the Tanked SRT entry, Brian Cooper, an absolutely flawless race, once taking command of the lead. And Kai Turner, he copped an unfortunate drive-through penalty.
Yeah, that was
he
just...
comes home in 13th position.
That was just an absolutely silly penalty by Kai Turner, allowing the safety car to get away from him. That was an absolute rookie move. But once Brian Cooper had the lead of the race, he looked strong. He did not let that go at all. So well done, Brian Cooper. Well deserved.
Well deserved for that, man. Played the pit strategy absolutely perfect. Sold the dummy to John Gillies as well, and I reckon that's JP. If I must say, that is probably one of the best dummies sold to the pit lane you could possibly do. I mean, that was absolutely picture perfect from Brian Cooper there. Was running it wide consistently out of turn 13 there. Came right onto the pit road entry and then darted back onto the start finish, onto the turn 14 racing line. And then for the time that he did want to pit, he decided to come back on the racing line and then just dart straight back into the pits. And that was absolutely picture perfect. Didn't break any of the race control rules. He was still within the lines, ladies and gentlemen, to make the entry to pit lane, and he didn't get pinged for it. And unfortunately, John Gillies just had nothing to answer for it. But Brian Cooper, what a spectacular drive. John Gillies really put the pressure on him. And Rod Hollis flew under the radar all race long, and he snaps up his first podium of the season. And Brian Cooper now celebrates. Lights him up, and have a listen to Brian Cooper, ladies and gentlemen, celebrate his first win. I think he might have just run out of fuel there, JP. I believe, because he's just managed to cross the control line. Big puff of flame out the exhaust, and now he's parked up in the middle of the track. And there it is. Unofficial results, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to them straight away for you. And there it is, Tanked SRT's man, Brian Cooper, taking out his first win in the RSRA Super 2E Series. Brought to you by the DSL Welding Services. John Gillies put up an immense fight all race long, just didn't have enough for Brian Cooper in the end to be able to hold on to it and try and take away first position from him. Rod Hollis in third, Stephen Martin in fourth, Jason Schooler in fifth, Adam Moore in sixth, Tony Gaffer and Adam Moore. What a battle that was, ladies and gentlemen. All race long, those two duked it out, and what a fantastic battle that was to be able to watch it all race long. Stephen Banks in eighth, Mitch Campbell in ninth, Jonathan Bain finally securing his top 10 position there and rounding out the top 10 there. And what a battle he had going on there with Peter Kelly in the dying stages. Holden dominated Ford in the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. And it's an even spread there for the top 20 here. Peter Kelly, Stephen Lawrence, Kai Turner, Alan Dawson, Robert Broad, Tommy Foster, David Leslie, John Nicolaev, Sted Miller, and Andrew Johnson rounding out your top 10 there. And the American from the US of A, Jeff Eddy, finishes on the lead lap, and he's the last car to do so. And then it goes back to Corey Brand, Will Yesberg, Timmy Mulford, Matt Whitaker, and then our DNFs, Braden O'Loughlin, Daniel Leet, Daniel Schultz, and Stuart Crawford obviously couldn't race tonight. Simon Chadwick, the safety car driver, ladies and gentlemen, that's why he's in a Porsche. But JP, quick recap of tonight's race, mate. Absolutely superb, clean driving from these guys in the Super 2. They're really starting to cement themselves as drivers to contend for the Super Series and really bring it to them next season.
Yeah, 100%. They've done really well tonight. Credit to themselves and to the series. Some great driving, some really close racing. Yeah, they're looking really good at the minute.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the podium on standby as we just clicked over 20 to 10 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Don't forget it is daylight savings down here in Victoria, and unlike the people of up north who are still yet to get on our time zone. It is 20 to 10 at the moment, and we've got the podium sitting on standby, and we'll get straight into the drivers here for our third position, who flew right under the radar all race long, gained a total of 5 positions throughout the race. He started all the way in 8th, just inside the top 10, and now secures himself his first podium of the season, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for Ron Hollis. Mate, congratulations. Third position. Under the radar all race long, and just had a nice quiet night in the office, really.
Yeah, thanks. It was different. I was playing it by ear from once I got through that first corner, trying to make sure there's no incidents. It was just, yeah, keep your head, race my race, and play it by ear with the pit strategy.
Mate, almost had a frog leap lockout in the for the podium. You got positions 2 and 3. John being your teammate. A little bit of incentive to try and catch him in the end. You were only seven tenths away from him coming across the line. If the move was able to be made, was there a move going to be done?
I would have let him have it. He earned it. I knew he was going to be tight on fuel. Yeah, I'm going to let him have the second. I'm happy with that.
That's the way, mate. Look, Hungaroring, new track, and as we found out tonight, only one of the drivers tonight only brought the track tonight, and then his first laps were in warm up and qualifying. So, mate, for a new track to the iRacing server, one that you'd like to revisit and do, or one that you want to sort of flick to the curb and say, no, I don't want to come back here?
I wouldn't mind doing it again. It's actually, it's different. It's a lot of everything. There's high speed corners. There's the slow speed section. It's a real driver's crack, I reckon.
One to definitely test out your pit strategies, mate. That's for sure. Look, stick around. The formalities. We'll get back to the formalities later on and get some sponsor thanks as well, and look to next week, where we light it up. I believe around Long Beach circuit, or it might even be Road America. Ladies and gentlemen, on to position number 2 now. John Gill is where he's a regular up in the booth now, and from Froglet Racing Team, mate, congratulations on the second position. Really put Cooper under the pressure and put him honest coming into that second pit stop. But after he sold you the dummy to the pit lane, you decided to play the extremely long game and hang it out there for as long as possible. What on earth happened in pit lane there?
My first one?
In the second one, mate. Sorry, you were a second longer than Cooper there. So was that a bit of an overfuel, or did you actually underfuel yourself there?
No. I had plenty of fuel. So I mentioned in the first race, yeah, my pit stop, there's something wrong. We're trying to work it out. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I wouldn't use that as an excuse tonight, though.
No, that's fair enough.
Drove a spectacular race.
Yeah, no, he definitely did, mate. And you drove an honest race as well. You really kept him under the pressure for quite some time and just didn't have it in the end. Mate, Hungaroring for you, tyre life, a big one around here. We heard it last night. Tyre degradation is huge. By lap 8, the tyres were gone. How did you manage that one tonight?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, you're right. The tyres did go off, but I took that into account. Unless I'm stupid, yeah, the tyres tend to last for me. Yeah, it's a different car, but no, I've got no issue with that. It was good under braking, so that's where your confidence is, and as long as that's there, yeah, I keep driving it.
And coming into strategies, mate, for the pit stops, obviously a lot of drivers tonight probably would have opted to take the tyres in the second stop. For you, mate, coming into the strategy side of things, when to pit, I mean, you could have blown the pit strategies out to whenever, really. That was quite a big window to move in tonight. For you, what was the plan of attack coming into strategies, and was it tyres in the first stop or second stop?
Tyres in the first. I had to clear Brian though to get the time in. Unfortunately, I didn't. So really, the optimum time for those tyres was I was behind Brian. So yeah, it didn't quite work out that way. And I have to be honest, mate, I'm not really good on the strategy. So yeah, shout out to Rod there for helping me out as much as he could.
There we go. That's what teammates are for, isn't that right, mate? Look, congratulations on second position. We'll get back to you now in a short time for some sponsor thanks. You know the formalities in here already. But ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the winner for the round 3 at the Hungaroring. And what a win to do it. He got the position sort of given to him by Kai Turner from a pit lane penalty that he incurred. And managed to drive an absolutely flawless race. And the pit times for him were probably some of the quickest that we've seen tonight. Brian Cooper, ladies and gentlemen, your race winner. Welcome to the commentary booth again, mate, and congratulations on your race win.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. Yeah, it was a good race. I guess had a good start, and unfortunately, Kai probably was just a little bit faster than me at the start of the race. But then, he got the unfortunate penalty in the safety car period, which put me up into first, and then had a good race from then. As far as strategy goes, obviously we all pitted under the safety car. I'd take tyres. I ran long, and then that's definitely when I noticed the pressure building from John in that middle stint. And I was just made a couple of mistakes. And as long as I could keep it in front of him, I was at that stage. I wasn't aware that he didn't take or that he took tyres. I just thought he had a bit more pace than what I did, and then I just pitted as soon as I could to get home, fresh tyres, and then when John ran longer, it sort of clicked that he ran his fresh tyres in that first, and then obviously pulled away a little at the towards the back half as his tyres were a bit further off.
Mate, you I was on one about watching the racing lines on the drivers and where they take, especially around Hungaroring, where there's quite a number of different racing lines that you can take, especially through turn 1s, turn 2, 13 and 14. Out of 13, you were running extremely right into the pit lane entry almost, and then dart back into for turn 14. Was that part of your plan, some of the race, to try and sell the dummy there to John to almost pretend that you're pitting so he dive in, or is that just a racing line of yours that you take?
It's it wasn't intentional by any means to trick John, but it's the racing line that I was taking. The RS subscriber, so that's sort of, I think that's where Madison was going in his videos. I just tried to. It's very difficult tracking some of the corners, and 7 or 8, the left-hander kink there. I ran wide a few times there, and my thing was just to try and keep it on the track, and ran the official race on Monday night and had 2 DNFs in the race. Getting too many incident points and the like, so it definitely was trying to keep it on the track and keep those incident points under control.
Yep.
For the race, and then the last 5 or 6 laps when I saw John drop back a fair bit, I was just trying to save some fuel, so hopefully had enough fuel to do a burnout, which hopefully was at the end.
Mate, obviously the burnout's the big one to for a race winner, and we know how much everybody's dying to get a race win and do one of them. Coming into the fuel numbers though, mate, and really crunching them. Obviously, we could tell you were crunching them by the end of the race because you conked out as you just passed the control line there. For you, was it a try and run as long as possible on the fuel that you could, or was there a little bit of strategy thrown in to try and mix it up and maybe run the gauntlet a little bit?
No, well, it was had a fuel number to get home, and as soon as I had that fuel number, which was lap 22 or whatever it ended up being, it was into the tyres.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and then I mean I would have had I could have fuel numbers were a little bit low because I had a bit of a draft in the first half of the race, but yeah, I would have made it home. I think with even with John on the back of me, I just wouldn't have had as much in the at the end for the burnout. So.
Well, you've
About the
really
burnout.
shown that you can turn it on to Kai Turner there. You kept him fairly honest at the opening of the race there, mate. So good stuff. We'll get back to you with some sponsor thanks and a look into next week. We'll move on now, ladies and gentlemen, to the unofficial championship points. And a quick question to Brian, John, and Rod. Out of the three of you, who copped the clean race tonight, Brian?
Yeah, I wasn't clean race, so I think some points.
John?
I think 6.
6, and Rod?
I only had 2.
So no one in the podium copped the clean race, ladies and gentlemen. So the 5 bonus points will go away from them. But hopefully JP's got these championship points for us, and we can get those up on screen for you. Here we are. Adam Moore currently leading the championship, 421 points, but he's tied with John. It's gone count back as well. So at the moment, I believe, if I'm correct, JP, off the top of my head, John Gillies will be the championship leader at the moment. Would I be correct?
Give me about 30 seconds and I'll let you know if you want to go through the championship points.
Sounds good, mate. I'll do that. I'll go through the championship points, ladies and gentlemen. JP will get back to us because there is a count back. There's tie for first position. Obviously, points go to count back. Kai Turner in third position. Tony Gaffer sees himself in fourth now. Stephen Banks in fifth. Alan Dawson in sixth. Brian Cooper now sees himself in seventh position. Peter Kelly, Timmy Mulford, and Jason Schooler rounding out your top 10 there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll flick over to the next page. Stephen Martin, Stephen Lawrence, Jonathan Bain sees himself just outside of the top 10 now. Matt Whitaker, Tommy Foster, Robert Brewer, David Leslie, Stead Miller, Andrew Johnson, Troy Allen drops a hefty way down the championship points now as well after missing tonight's race. Over to the top 30 now. We've got Corey Brand, Stuart Crawford after he's missed tonight's race as well. Will Yesberg, Rod Hollis is sitting in 24th position. Daniel Leet, Scott Stevens, John Nikolaev, Brayden O'Loughlin after tonight's accident. We'll see him at DNF, so doesn't make any points tonight. Craig Casper and Mitch Campbell rounding out your top 30, and a big shout out to him. Driver of the night for me. That's a big hard charger, up 19 positions. Anthony Visma, Daniel Schultz, and Jeff Eddy from the US of A, finishing up in third position, 33rd position there in championship points. And then the rest are not starters for this season. JP, you've got some news for us.
Yeah, so on count back, Adam Moore finished race 1 in 7th place and finished race 2 in 2nd, whereas John Gillies finished race 1 in 3rd place and race 2 in 17th. So that would be putting Adam Moore in 1st for the championship at this stage, but of course it's early days and things will change.
Definitely. Well, there we go. On count back, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Moore is your current championship leader. What can Kai Turner do? And we said it was going to be championship implicating circumstances after copping that drive-through penalty tonight. And that's definitely just gone to show there, promoting Adam Moore into first position of the championship. Now, obviously, moving on to 5 to 10 Australian Eastern Daylight Time now, ladies and gentlemen. We'll try and get an early night here. So we'll get some sponsor thanks out of the way. Rod, mate, lead us away with some sponsors. We'll head over to John and then finish up with Brian Cooper.
Thanks. I'd like to thank Juiced Energy, Pet Door Company, Precision Sim Training, and Sideways Photography. No, we can't be where we are without their help.
John, mate.
Yeah, firstly to JP, RSA team, thanks for a great series so far. Juiced Energy, the Pet Door Company, Precision Sim Training, and Sideways Photography, what they do for us.
Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Brian Cooper, finish it up with some sponsor thanks, and I'll finish us up for the broadcast with a few of our sponsors and a look into next week and what's coming up.
Yeah, just like to thank the Tanked SRT team for having me back, and also BA Crocs, our main sponsor, and Dirt Division.
Oh, good stuff, mate. Well done, guys. Especially to Brian Cooper on your first race win for the season. And what a way to take it out at the Hungaroring, a brand new track to the iRacing server and the RSRA platforms. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, there's a whole heap of sponsors that we need to thank on our behalf. Who we simply can't do all that we do on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday night without them. Goodyear Auto Care Runner and DSL Welding for our main sponsors for the Super Series and the Super 2 E Series. Then FU Suicide, all about men's mental health there. Devon Stove Designs, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, Simshed Broadcasting, and Dragon RC. Also, we've got track cams for Gourmet and SDK Gaming for all their overlays that you see on the broadcast. And we're trying to make it as real life as we possibly can for you sitting at home that can't see the little tiny details that we're fortunate enough to see across the many screens that we do have set up to be able to bring you this broadcast. Looking into next week, ladies and gentlemen, bring up that calendar quickly, JP, for us, because I've got no idea where we are going at, even though that I've been here for the whole entire year so far, and I've got the calendar in front of me. I was right. We are going to Long Beach for the sprint rounds. And it's 51 laps of hard action racing around there. And boys, if I can say one thing, if there's one track that I don't want to see on my calendar, that's Long Beach. Just a quick word from you guys. Brian Cooper, mate, Long Beach, it's a concrete barrier and a very, very tight circuit. Definitely a tough one to get around next week, especially for 51 laps.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good race. Like the track, like the street circuits, hill track. So, yeah, hopefully have another podium at least. With that 10 car up front.
John, mate, Long Beach, it's extremely tough on tyres around there. A lot of spots that you've really got to modulate that throttle and have a dance with it. A track you're looking forward to?
If I answer honestly, no.
Hey, that's fine by me, mate, because I'll be in the same boat as you.
I really think it's going to mix up the field, to be honest. I think you're going to find some guys that are maybe midfield or something that like the street circuits. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting race.
Rod, mate, Long Beach, it's a track that comes to you gradually as the race goes on, and you only get quicker and quicker and quicker around there. And I found that out when I did race it. And as much as I hate it, I do like it for that. Coming into, obviously, the water fountain for race start, that's going to be the trickiest spot. And trying to find moves to overtake and get track position around there, that's really going to be a tough one.
Certainly is. It's have to probably be my favourite track on the calendar.
Oh, wow.
There's just there's no room for error. That's why. One little mistake and your race is over. There's only a couple of good spots for passing, but if you can keep the tyres to the tarmac, you should be good.
It's almost like going across the top end of Bathurst, isn't it? But you're doing that for a whole entire lap. So I guess if you're loving of Long Beach, then you're going to be a big lover of Bathurst. But I guess who isn't in the RSRO? We all love Bathurst. And if you're from Australia, and we've even got some people from the US of A, which should be Jeff Eddy, who most likely will be turning his first laps at Bathurst this season with us. So we look forward to seeing how the Americans go over there. But there is quite a number of drivers out there in the sim world that do love to go to Bathurst and turn laps, especially in the V8 supercar. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just gone 10 o'clock at night. And as we close off that calendar, we look to what's going on Saturday night and then starting on next week. So join us on Saturday night, myself and Zach Caben. We are going to be bringing you Weekend Warriors Cup car racing on Saturday night from 7:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, as we say farewell to John, who's just skipped out there. So an early night for him. We'll be covering that off with JP, our director, going to be giving him a bit of a break on Saturday night. And then we head back here from 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for the RSRA Super Series on Tuesday night, and then join us back here on Wednesday night. Hopefully Dean Reddick can join us back in the booth for the Super 2E Series on Wednesday at 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time as well. All brought to you by the SimShed Broadcasting, and a big thank you for JP and the RSRA admin for doing everything they do behind the scenes, and obviously Race Control for the amount of work they've got to do to really keep these drivers under a tight grip. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all for round 3 at the Hungaroring. A new circuit to the iRacing platforms in the RSRA. Brian Cooper, our race winner, and my apologies, it wasn't John Gillies that shot off early. It was Brian Cooper. So Brian Cooper wants the early night, not John. But we've seen a new race winner tonight. That is the second race or third race winner of this season so far. So that's 3 out of 3 from different rounds. And we look forward to seeing who's going to be the race winner leading into next week at Long Beach. It's a long race. It's 51 laps, and we can't wait to get amongst it. My name's Matt Davis, joined me by JP and the podium, ladies and gentlemen. Have a safe week. Hopefully see you on Saturday night, and then join us next week. And we'll see you back here for all the action in the V8 Supercars amongst the Super Series and the Super 2E Series. Have a good night. See you next time.